Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Digital Day webinar with PartySlate. We are going to give everybody a few seconds to join. Welcome, welcome. If you joined after I did my first welcome, so we'll do a couple as people are joining. And we're so excited to be back. Pamela and I haven't done one of these together in quite a while.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Maybe COVID.
Maybe COVID. I
Yeah.
know, when we used to do these quite often. So we're excited to be back. This is a specialty of Pamela's, and I'm going to be chiming in with some information and some fun tips. So I think we're going to get started in maybe 30 seconds. But in the meantime, feel free to put in the chat. Make sure you select everyone. It can be kind of tricky, not just hosts and panelists, although we're happy to hear from you too. So select everyone and let us know where you're zooming in from. We always like to see all the different locations. It's fun to see where you guys are joining us from. So go ahead and do that. Put in the Zoom if you're just joining us, where you're zooming in from. We're so excited to have you guys here today for another Digital Day installment, one of our amazing webinars. I'm Lauren Mandel. I'm the VP of Marketing here at PartySlate. And I have with me.
Hi there, I'm Pamela Rothbard. I am our Director of Editorial at PartySlate.
And we're just really excited. This is one of our favorite topics. It's something we focus on internally at PartySlate and something that's really important, not just for a company like PartySlate, but for small businesses like yours. And I will caveat that we did gear this toward planners, but we are thrilled that not just planners are joining us today. We have vendor categories of all types, and these tips really do apply to everybody. So we're so excited to have everybody joining us. And with that, I think we're going to get started. Pamela's going to kick us off.
Yeah, I will piggyback on that and just say that no matter what part of the industry you are in, you should feel empowered to make submissions and to try to get events published, because it really can up your brand image online. And we'll talk more about that, but everyone should give this a try.
Yeah. And I'll be monitoring. Pamela's going to handle most of the slides. I'm going to be jumping in, but I'm also going to be monitoring the chat. So make sure you select everyone from the dropdown. Or if you want to send a question more privately, you can do host and panelists, and we'll get to as many questions as we can.
All right, let's get started. So today we're just going to be sharing some tips and ideas about getting your work published. Oh, here we go. All right. We're going to start off with some context setting right here. So there are lots of different ways you can get your name out and you can appear in searches. And these are the four main ways. And I just want to level set what we're talking about today. So paid media, this is your sponsored content. So generally it's pay to play, and you can get an event feature to get a quote somewhere. Owned media, this is content that you control. So think of this as your blog or your PartySlate profile. Your shared media is your social media across all socials. And then your earned media, that is what we are talking about today. And that is PR. And it is earned media because what you are doing is, in essence, convincing someone else to publicize your work for you. So that's where we're going to hard focus today. At the end, we'll touch on all the others, because any marketing strategy you have for yourself really should touch on all pieces of this to really be seen.
And I will say too, like, if you are interested in going deeper on any of these topics, we're looking for feedback on what topics you guys want to hear from next. So social media or things around more sponsored content, we are open to feedback. So please share that in the chat as well.
Yeah, we want to make sure we're giving you the info that you want. Okay, so we are going to launch into every time. All right, we're going to launch into how getting published helps your business. I think this is pretty self-explanatory. We all know it's a good thing to get published and to get your name out there, but I think it bears repeating, mainly because it takes time. And we are asking you to set time aside in your schedule, and the results aren't immediate. It's like a diet. You know, you have to work and exercise. You have
So
to work.
unfortunately,
I know, I'm so sorry, but it takes upfront work to reap the benefits later. And so it's good sometimes to just be reminded of what those benefits are upfront. So in this case, getting published obviously builds your brand awareness and reputation, distinguishes you from the competition. It can be a lead generator. We talk a lot at PartySlate about how an average consumer has 7 touch points before they make a purchasing decision. And so I want you to think about getting published as one of those touch points. Your social media is one, your PartySlate profile is one, your own website is one, your review sites are one. And so you want to get as much good press out there as you can to increase those touch points and have them be found. It's an added value for clients. You know, when we talk about publishing your events, we are talking about publishing their events. And they get really excited very often, get very excited to share. They put so much thought into the personal details of a day, whether it's a wedding or a bar bat mitzvah or even a gala. Like there's so much thought put into this one day or this one weekend. And often they're really excited to share why they made the decisions they did and how it turned out. And so it can make them really happy.
like the ultimate compliment, like the same way we know it means something to the vendors behind the event, the couple wants that recognition, or the gala chairs want that recognition. So we always find that really exciting too.
Yeah, that's fun news to share. It creates content for your own marketing, and we'll talk a little bit more about leveraging any publications you do get placed in to widen the reach of those. And then lastly, backlinks for SEO. So as part of your plan, you should be backlinking and getting backlinks back to your own site, and that just builds your own credibility.
And David has a question, that's a great question that no is not actually included in this particular presentation, but about your Google business profile as part of this overall strategy. It is a really important piece of content that you can influence. You can make sure it's accurate. You can generate as many reviews as you can influence. It's not in this particular one, but it's something we can consider covering in future content marketing webinars for sure.
Totally agree. And I think, and maybe another thing that we can talk about later, but if you've noticed that Google has done a total overhaul of its algorithm, and whereas it used to be that if someone Googled your company name, your company blog or company website would come first. Now Reddit might show up first. And so, you know, is Reddit a viable place to have your own impact with that, with something you can control by commenting on things? So I'd love to dive more into that, but that's not today.
Not today.
Not today.
For future, for sure.
Yes. Okay. So the first thing, and I cannot emphasize this enough, is that your photos and your videos are your best marketing collateral. You know, all of the photographers that you work with, the photographers that are in this session today, they are your best friends. They are the ones to keep in contact with, to follow up with, to get images, to create good relationships with. Because while we all as publishers want to hear the stories behind events, what consumers really want is the visual storytelling. And that comes through the photos and the videos. And reels, I'm sure you've noticed, just continue to gain popularity. And so, you know, it used to be, I think 20 years ago, we would say that photos are your marketing collateral. It really, really is photos and videos now.
Absolutely.
Just here we go. All right. So I'm of course going to bring it back to PartySlate and say that PartySlate, since it is a space that you control your own profile, it is a place to curate your best event photos and videos with full credits so that people can not only find you and your work, consumers, but they can also see all of the vendors you've worked for. And if you haven't done a deep dive on your PartySlate profile lately, I would really encourage you to do it and scroll all the way down so that you can see how one of our values is that we really surface the network of vendors who have worked together. So that means that if a couple is looking at a hotel, they can go down and see all the planners that worked at that hotel, and you want to be on that list. You get on that list by uploading your events to PartySlate. So this is a good place for organizing and curating your content. What else would you add to that, Lauren?
I don't remember if it's, maybe if you go to the next slide.
Yeah.
So this is what I would add, is we have something really exciting coming soon. So for those of you that have been with PartySlate for a long time, it's an adored platform. We love the support. We love how many venues and vendors use it today. And we always know that it can be improved. And so we have what we're calling PartySlate Pro. It's the new front door to PartySlate, and it's the future space for photo organization tools and much, much more that's coming later this year. So this is a little sneak peek. This is one of my favorite sections of PartySlate Pro. It's basically where you can do everything that you can do today with PartySlate, but more beautiful, easier to use. There are some fun surprises in there, some exciting enhancements. It's just more enjoyable and more beautiful. It's a better way to do what you love to do with PartySlate today. And it's just the beginning. We have some really exciting things coming later this year. So I will say that if you do use PartySlate and you do use your profile updating tools now, right after this webinar, it's going to be even better in the next couple of weeks. So lots more to come, but we did want to just share that out. It's coming very, very soon.
I will say it's going to make all of the things you're used to doing on PartySlate easier and faster.
Mhm.
So it will save your time and just make sharing your work easier. All right. So as you start thinking about getting your work out there for publication, the very beginning step is identify a list of your target publications. Obviously, we want to be on that list, but there are all kinds of publications in all different niche areas. I just spoke recently at a Island Weddings on Martha's Vineyard, and Island Weddings sponsored. It's a beautiful magazine on Martha's Vineyard event. And the work that they publish obviously is all on Martha's Vineyard. There really is a market for every type of event. So look into all the different publications, you know, whip out your spreadsheet and start making a list. Whether you want to showcase your bar and bat mitzvahs, your quinceañeras, your weddings, there are obviously a lot more outlets for weddings, and it can be a little overwhelming. So allow yourself time to do the research. These are questions that you can ask yourself. What do you care about? Do you care about seeing your work in print, but likely for a smaller audience? Do you care about, are you excited to see it in digital form so that you can easily link back to it and share it? Are you interested in mass market or a smaller market, but luxury, higher end? Wedding only content or all event types? So really think about what your goals are, and then think about, are these reasonable? I can bet that every single person on this call would be thrilled to have one of their events featured in Vogue. That's not reasonable at the beginning.
We would be thrilled.
We would also really like that. So that is not reasonable at the beginning. And so we're going to give you tips for building up to bigger and bigger placements. But at the beginning, you're going to consider the exclusivity requirements. I'll tell you off to the side, PartySlate, and there are plenty of others, don't require exclusivity when featuring content. We really want your work to get seen by as many people as it can. So, but there are many, many magazines and blogs that do require that. And so it's important that you familiarize yourself and be very transparent when you're sending your work in, if you've sent it to other places as well.
And I think that the thing I would add is, like, if you're for everyone, you're for no one. So not every company is going to want to get featured in the same publication. Not every publication is for you. So I think it's really important to consider what fits with your brand, what best represents who you are, who's going to profile you in a way that you're going to be happy about. Because I know everybody says all press is good press. That's not always true. Like, you want it to be press that represents your business and your brand. And I think this third point is what other marketing benefits do those publications offer is especially important. Are they going to promote the feature on their social media channels? Are they going to include you in the email? Are they going to, is it permanent on their website or is it just in print? So there are different things to consider other than, we all want to be featured in Vogue, and I don't think that's ever going to change, but there are other things to consider when you're prioritizing your target list.
Absolutely. Okay. Did I get it? All right. So continuing on with that same thread is that once you've identified, like, these are publications I really like, and they tend to publish content in a style that is fitting of mine. Now you have to put thought into how you are going to approach, how are you going to get attention from that publisher? So the first thing is obviously find the right content or the right contact at each publication. Try to avoid a generic email address. Ask people that you know in the industry. This industry is nothing if not a network, and everyone relies so heavily on everyone else's work and insight that this is no exception.
Mm-hmm.
Ask others who have gotten published where you want to be published, how they did it. And then think about your angle. And I've given you some ideas of headlines I saw out in the wild. The middle one is PartySlate. But the idea is, like, it's great if it's a beautiful beach wedding with traditional colors and traditional elements. There is a market for that. But you are going to get more attention if you can find some kind of a hook, any hook. And so just this first one is so simple. A festive Florida wedding with 2 cocktail hours, 2 aisles, 2 rabbis, 2 receptions.
So cute.
Like, that would get my attention. So think about what makes your event different and call that out right away for the editor. If you are looking to get quoted or be a subject matter expert on events, then talk about the trends and your knowledge and what you see coming in the industry or what you're noticing more of, because editors are also really drawn and interested in that. Lastly, when you are writing to the editor, remember that they get inundated with submissions, and you want to keep your narrative compelling but brief. Don't overwhelm them. Don't write the article for them and put 5 paragraphs about the event. Give them some bulleted tidbits about it. Like, if I'm going to look at the titles over on the side, like a video save the date, that's different. Okay, interesting. An after party for a mitzvah. I have not seen that. Or the equestrian details at an event. That's a different take, something added to a wedding. So think about that and bullet that stuff out to make it really easy for an editor. Any data you have that can back up if you're trying to be a thought leader and give knowledge of trends and future forecasting, any data you have is super helpful. And then make it personal. Tell them why their publication. Let them know that you actually looked and you saw and you love how they focus on light, airy, outdoor content. And that is something that you really appreciate, or how they go deep on classic and traditional, and that's exactly your style. Just get an idea and then be very clear with them about why you like it.
Love that. And we are getting a couple questions, some to everyone and some just to the hosts and panelists. One is related to the topic and one is actually back to PartySlate Pro. We did tease PartySlate Pro, so we can talk about it. So Stephanie would like to know, a great question and something that we've had experience with is, if you can't find the exact contact or the exact email address, what title is the correct title to look for? And I would assume that this has to do with LinkedIn, because I have personal experience. You can sort of scroll and peruse LinkedIn for the particular publication you want to get in touch with, and just look at the people who work there. Anybody with the word editor in their title is going to be somebody that at least you can catch their attention and they can pass you to the right person. But Pamela, I don't know if you have any other thoughts.
I would just say the other keyword is content, because increasingly editorial is being folded under a larger content umbrella that includes social media, newsletters, and all of that. So looking for a content manager would also, or content director, might be helpful.
Yeah, great point. The other question from David is about sort of the future, I think, about AI and how PartySlate is using AI within PartySlate Pro. There is a lot more to come with AI with PartySlate. Our goal always is to make the work that you do easier and take things off your plate so you can focus on growing your business. We are hoping to do everything from content generation to future photo organization and really leverage AI for all of those things. So I promise I don't want to spoil, or steal product's thunder, but the product team is really hard at work, and we're considering AI for everything that we do for future iterations of PartySlate Pro and the features and products that are going to live within PartySlate Pro. So great question, and more to come.
Lots more to come.
Yeah.
It's really exciting. I do want to touch on AI as an editor, that when it comes to blogs, there is more and more data to suggest that Google is getting better and better about sussing out what has been fully written by AI. So as you are creating content and creating, trying to get notice from editors, don't rely on AI to do your writing for you, but it can help you with editing, ideation, and those kinds of things.
Yeah, absolutely. We use it as a thought starter all the time. Like if you're stuck or you don't know what topic to focus on, or you want an outline, like, we have a whole actually AI focused webinar that we can send out after this too. If you email, Kylie put it in the chat, events@partyslate.com. So it's a really good resource.
Yeah. Okay. I am going to circle back to PartySlate for a second. So we are going to continue to talk about making it easy for them to publish you. The last thing you want is to make work for someone you are asking to give you attention and to elevate your business. So if you are just starting out at this is new to you, really start local. It is going to be the most relevant for you because you are building a local based business at the beginning. So look at the place. I mean, in just about every city, there is a wedding dedicated magazine for that city. There is a Chicago weddings, there's Brooklyn wedding, like I mentioned, there's Martha's Vineyard, just about everywhere you look. But for other kinds of events, it might be more national, but first start by seeing what is in your local market. Choose a niche and become an expert. So whatever you know that you know more about than the person to the right of you, you can speak to. Be responsive for requests for quotes. That's a big one. As you start developing a rapport with editors, they'll reach out to you and they want input. Generally, they have very short turnaround times. And so if they're asking you for your favorite venues in Brooklyn, get back to them right away, as quickly as you can.
That's a personal pain point for PartySlate, only because when, Pamela and her team want to feature one of our premium members or somebody whose work we absolutely admire, and they're excited, and then we don't hear from them, we have deadlines as well. So we're trying to push out our work as quickly as we can. So, we know this industry is so incredibly busy, and especially over a weekend, it can be so hard to respond. Even a quick response that isn't perfect is better than no response and missing that opportunity.
Absolutely. Yeah, just saying like, I can't respond until end of day tomorrow. Right. Is that okay? Another thing is building credibility with speaking engagements. And this is interesting. This is like an Ouroboros, like you build credibility by speaking.
Right.
And that builds credibility for getting published. Getting published builds credibility for you to gain more speaking opportunities. So both of those are important pieces of your brand building pie. Share your credentials when you reach out to an editor. Like, how long have you been in business? What types of events do you do? What's your special skill set? Be persistent, but patient. We really, really appreciate your patience. The other thing I'm going to mention that is not on here though, is seasonality. So if you are doing a fantastic, amazing fall wedding, honestly, your best bet is to hold that content until the following summer to pitch it for fall content for a publication.
That's a great point too. And even if, we know this industry cares so deeply about your most recent work, your best work, sometimes your best work might be from 2, 3 more years ago. And if it's timeless, it really can shine in publication years after the fact. So don't discredit work that, maybe is old, but is still some of your most beautiful too.
Yeah, beautiful work is evergreen. And the other note I'll make about that is don't overlook the fact that a small detail of an older event might be worth attention. So, maybe you're not interested in sharing the whole event, but you want to talk about centerpieces.
Yeah.
And what's going on with centerpieces, and you can share work from an older event.
We have a question, hi Jenna, who I'm assuming is a hair and makeup artist, which is amazing, about wanting to get published. And I think it goes back to two things from my perspective, is those what we call in, the greater marketing strategy, your differentiators. Did you do an amazing, unique look, or, at the other end of the spectrum, a timeless look that any, bride or groom could replicate for their own ceremony or their own celebration? And also making sure that you really maintain those relationships with your partners. So if a planner or a photographer or any other one of your partners is going to get published, encourage them to include your credit when they submit for publication. Pamela, I don't know if you have any other thoughts, but those two come to mind.
I agree. And especially for something like hair and makeup, there will be people shots 90% of the time.
Mhm.
And so really developing that relationship with the planners and photographers, especially, so that when they do pitch, that they include your credit in there, like Lauren mentioned,
Mhm.
fostering those relationships. And this, when we pitched this event today, we talked about positioning it to planners mainly because planners are in the best position to tell the full story of a day.
Mhm.
They've worked with a couple for maybe a year, or worked with a family to produce another kind of an event over a longer period of time. And they know why all the decisions were made, and they can give context and color to it. So staying close to your planner
Mhm.
of an event, and maybe even sending over a little bit of insight after an event.
Yeah.
That would help them as they, in their quest to get published.
Another really good question, and then we'll
Yeah.
probably move on, but
Yeah.
what's an especially strong publication pitch that stood out to our team? I'll share, our team, we're actually in the office today, and our team always chats about things that we see, and we look at all the events that you guys are submitting to PartySlate. Two things come to mind is fully baked pitches that you, like Pamela already covered, the easier you can make things on this slide, especially, the better. And a gracious pitch. Like, you would be surprised how the thing that catches our attention, at least immediately, is somebody who is kind and gracious and thoughtful. We always talk about that. And those are the people we want to feature the most, are people that are extremely talented and also extremely excited to have the opportunity to get featured.
Totally agree. And I think along with the fully baked, just having an interesting angle. Like, I got a pitch that actually ended up on our trends list for 2025. And it was about a couple who really, really loved the wallpaper in the hotel they were getting married. And so they took that wallpaper and used that design, had a designer recreate it, and they used it on their invitations, on their bar, even on the wraps for the late night popcorn that they
So
serve.
creative, yeah.
And then that led us to start looking for more of that type of thing. And we did use that event and predict it as a trend, because we realized we were seeing more of that. But it took this pitch to point that out to us as like, oh, this is something different and interesting.
I love that too. We have another question about TikTok, but we are going to keep going. I think that seeing content posted on TikTok, absolutely. PartySlate is on TikTok. It is a really time-intensive channel, but I do think that maybe in the future we could do a webinar focused on repurposing content, because content that you use to pitch the way that we're covering today versus TikTok versus Instagram, you can use very similar content repurposed in different ways. So that's from Gary, and maybe we'll note that for a future topic. That would be a good one.
Yeah, I think figuring out the slant for your topic on all those different platforms and how you can leverage one event in 7 different ways.
Yeah, absolutely. So many questions. Let's keep going though.
Yeah, okay. I do, before we move to the next slide, I do want to just talk about quickly how you get published on PartySlate. It's a little bit different. It is also a lot easier. So while I welcome a pitch and an outreach saying what you've got going on and what's new, I can even remove that from your process and just tell you that our content and editorial team look at every single event that gets uploaded to PartySlate. So it is as easy as uploading your event, giving it a detail-rich description that will help me if I'm trying to understand what I'm looking at, and give a good descriptive title that helps us when we're looking. You know, we're always looking for events that are in a very specific style: bohemian, romantic, glamorous, modern. We are looking for things that are creatively themed. So, you know, give us that in the title, and then connect with your CS rep or your community contact to let them know, hey, I uploaded something and I think it's interesting because of this. And they can look ahead to upcoming content and kind of fill you in on what's coming.
Yeah, and I know we often get like, do you really look at every event that's uploaded to PartySlate? And the truth is we really do. I think that we're a small but mighty team, and we know how lucky we are to have all this amazing content that you guys submit to PartySlate to be able to use across our different channels. And we want to make sure we're representing the industry in the best light. So we really do look at every single event, and we make sure to represent your work in the best way possible.
And not only do we look at it, if you get our newsletter, you'll know that we vote on it. So every month we have a best events that were uploaded to PartySlate in July, and we have all of our favorites there.
We'll have a shout out for Lindsay, our CS rep, if she's listening.
Oh, Lindsay. Okay, moving on. All right, packaging everything up to make it easier. Obviously, if the publication has a submission form, use that. That is their preference. That's how they want to be contacted. Read what they are asking for and what they are telling you. I just looked at the one for green wedding shoes as I was preparing for this, and they made it very clear. Like, if you did a traditional wedding in a ballroom, that's amazing. That's not for us. We are looking for things that are a little bit unique, usually outdoors. And so look, they'll tell you what they want right on their submission form. So don't waste your time. Read that first. Send the content the way that they want it. Include any headshots, photos, or quotes to make it easy for them. And then this is a big one: detail shots and room shots. Sometimes we get content and it'll have 3 photos and they're all room photos. And it's a beautiful event. And we're sure there's lots of rich detail there, but we can't see it. And there's not enough content for us to work with. I would say maybe 20 photos. 20 to 30 photos. Yeah, and include detail shots, like let us see the place setting. Let us see, you know, the what's lining the aisle going up. If there's something sitting on the ceremony chairs, like let us see that. The entrance to the quinceañera, like show that to us.
Yeah, and I think it can be really, you know, easy to fall back on, you know, if you're a caterer, to submit mostly photos of food, but sometimes, you know, there might be a food shot with a really beautiful decor shot nearby, and we need to see it all to make sure that we understand the full story. We did get one more question that, you know, what if the work doesn't fit into a specific theme? You know, but it's not bohemian, it's not modern, you know, maybe you do really classic events, or maybe you do really unique events that fall outside, you know, traditional theming. Pamela, what would you say to that for submission?
I think that it's okay to use the word unique, but also it's okay to combine, like, think about all the times we've seen in movies, someone doing a pitch for a movie, and they say, you know, it's a combination of Die Hard meets, you know, whatever other movie. And so you can say, like, this is a mashup of modern and classic, bohemian and romantic that you haven't seen before. So you can use those words, but let us know it doesn't fall neatly into those categories.
I love that. Like, feel free to like break barriers and break boundaries and reinvent how you want to pitch things. Sometimes that's the most interesting.
Yeah. Agreed. And don't forget to include all of your partner credits. Oops, sorry. All right, Lauren.
Okay, so this is a really cool feature that we want to make sure everybody knows about, because as you're gathering up your photos, which are hopefully stored on PartySlate within your PartySlate profile, we actually have a really easy and fast download feature that this is a little GIF or GIF, however you prefer, where you can download the photos and the credits right from your PartySlate profile, and it copies directly. So, you know, we envision this for when you're posting to social media or when you're downloading it for future use for clients, but it is a really simple and easy to use tool for if you're putting together a pitch. So you can go in, download those photos, download all the credits directly from PartySlate, and actually save them and use them for that submission. So we just want to make sure everybody knows this feature exists, and it will also exist in PartySlate Pro as well.
And I would challenge you, I know we're talking about getting published today, but I would challenge you, if you have not tried this feature, to today, go to your PartySlate profile. Let this be the marketing thing that you do this week, and choose a gorgeous image and share it on social media using this tool to see how easy it is and how much it shortcuts that, especially if that's a pain point. If you dread posting,
Mhm.
give it a try to see how it will save your time.
Yeah, we like to say that a post can go from 20 minutes to 2 minutes using this. So
Sure.
give it a try and please let us know your thoughts.
Okay, and then the last step of this is making the most of your press mentions. And I like to think about press mentions as like a rock being tossed into the middle of a lake.
Pamela has the best analogy.
I do, I can't, this is
I
how
know.
I organize the world, I'm sorry.
I love it. It's actually really helpful. Keep going.
Yeah, so it can just drop into the middle of the lake, and that's great. And I'm happy that you got published, and congratulations. But what you want is to create as many ripples as far out as possible from that single mention, because you worked hard to get that mention. You organized yourself, you submitted your work, and now you finally got what you wanted. Make the most of it.
Yeah.
So I would encourage you, put it on your PartySlate profile. It doesn't have to be work that was published on PartySlate, meaning a PartySlate article. Put all of your press mentions on PartySlate. Use it, leverage it for potential PR. Think about, okay, now I got this press. Can I leverage that and say I was recently featured and quoted on this topic in this publication? I love to speak with you about a similar topic. Put it in your email newsletter, your social media, your website press page, your signature for your emails.
Mhm.
And
As
then
many
all of the
places as
social
possible.
media.
Yeah.
Yeah, anywhere you can think. And Pinterest is a funny one. Pinterest, we get a lot of traffic for Pinterest from Pinterest. Don't sleep on Pinterest.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think we can do again, like a future webinar. There seems to be a lot of interest in this, is how to repurpose content, how to leverage your entire marketing strategy, and press is definitely part of that.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, we're coming up on, oh no, there's one more.
Yeah, so when you do share your features, tag all of your partners, because that's another way to create more ripples. So you can share it 5 places. If each of them share it 5 places, you get the idea. It just keeps growing and growing. It's the effect of the network.
Yeah, love that. We call it our ecosystem. I think that that's something that we don't always consider, just how great of an impact that can have. And, for every event that you all work on, there's 10, 15, 20, sometimes more partners that are all sharing the same press mention. That can be extremely powerful.
Yes. And then use the badges. A lot of publishers will send you badges. Use them in your email signature line, use them on your social media, use them on your website to build credibility at a glance.
Yeah, love this.
Okay, do you want to?
Yeah, so I think that we will again send out this recording, and there was so much covered today and so many good questions, but I think that there are 3 really big things to get started. So if you're not feeling overwhelmed and there's some really clear actions that you can take, I think creating a plan. So gathering those photos, thinking about the topics, thinking about what publications you want to go after, that's really the first step. And you can take your time to organize your thoughts. It's not a rush. Those publications are not going anywhere. They're publishing all the time. And then submitting your work is really being thoughtful about those submissions. Starting local, I think, is the most important thing. Like there is no shame in starting small. Sometimes those small press mentions can be the most powerful. They're reaching the right people in the market that's important for you and for growing your business. And then promoting those press mentions. Don't just, like Pamela said with her amazing analogy, don't just let it happen and then leave it there. You really want to maximize the exposure that you get from that mention, encourage your partners to post about it, get everybody excited when it happens, and really, push it out across all of your channels.
I would just add that in addition to the assignment I've given you to go to your profile and post something on social media this week, the other challenge I will give you is to sit down with your calendar and go ahead and mark out when you are going to dedicate time to sending your work out, researching publications, to basically your marketing efforts for July, August, September through the rest of the year, and just mark it out on your calendar.
I love that. And I think we'll end with just another plug for PartySlate Pro. So a lot of really good questions. And I think that if we have vague answers, it's because this is really just the beginning of the future of PartySlate. It's this new front door, a better way to quickly store, organize, and retrieve, which we believe is the most important part when you're on those pitches with clients, or when you're putting together a proposal, or when you're trying to post on social media. You all have thousands of photos that you've been credited in. How do we help you better access them, better use them, better store them? So we can't wait to share more, and getting published is going to be even easier with PartySlate Pro. So we're really excited to share.
It's very exciting. Stay tuned. And then lastly, just to reiterate, Kylie had posted that you can reach out to events at PartySlate. You can to schedule a one-on-one with your community lead, to take a look, do a deep dive on your profile to see how you can make it better. You can share a favorite event or photo for our content team to look at. And then also ask for links. You know, Lauren mentioned that we have a great presentation on AI. We have a great presentation on almost any
Everything.
topic you can think of.
Yeah, we're really excited to keep hosting these. Your feedback is always so welcome, because there's a million topics we could cover. So you can also email events at PartySlate with some ideas of topics you're hoping our team will cover in the future. And we're excited to share more about PartySlate Pro and what's to come for the future of PartySlate. So stay tuned, and thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. We had so much fun.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye, everyone.